Hello, I am Brandy Davis. I am the HMIS trainer with ECHO. This training video covers the HMIS Release of Information, what the document says, how the ROI should be filled out, and answers common questions around the ROI.
The HMIS Release of Information is a document that we explain and go over with clients prior to entering their data in HMIS. This release allows the client to choose how their information will look and be shared in HMIS.
All providers should become familiar with what the ROI says so that we can explain the ROI to clients and answer any questions they may have before signing. The first page of the ROI is explaining the type of information that will be gathered, like personal identifying information, income, living situation. It also lets clients know they can refuse to answer any questions at any time and that they will not be denied services for refusing to answer a question. That is, unless we need to know the answer to a certain question to determine eligibility for a program. On this page, the client initials, which is not agreeing to anything yet, it's acknowledging that they understand what's stated above. The second page of the ROI includes a list of participating agencies. This is so clients know which agencies have access to their data or information. All HMIS users do sign a new user agreement, and part of that document is agreeing that they will only access client records when necessary for performing job duties, including coordinating services for clients. The third page of the document gives the client the option to allow for their case to be discussed outside of the system and with outside agencies for the purpose of coordinating services. If the client chooses no, that they do not want their case discussed outside of HMIS or with outside agencies, the client does have the option to choose specific outside agencies that they are okay with having their case discussed with. Lastly, in the optional treatment records section, clients have the option to allow for mental health, HIV/AIDS test results, or drug, alcohol, substance abuse treatment records to be shared within HMIS. To fill out the ROI, you will print your agency name at the top of the document. You will also print the client name and HMIS number in the top right-hand corner. The client will initial the first page. Within the optional agency section, the client will initial next to yes or no. And then by optional treatment record section, the client will initial next to any treatment records the client wishes to share within HMIS. The client will then print their name, sign, and date. The staff member will sign beside witness signature and date. And every adult 18 or older needs to sign their own ROI. So if you're filling out an ROI with a family with 2 parents and 2 dependents, then each parent would need to fill out their own ROI, and the dependents' names will be printed on one of those parents' ROIs. Typically, in my experience, clients do feel comfortable signing this document once it's been explained. Usually, clients also agree on that second page to having their info shared outside of the database once I explain that it's just for better coordinating services and communication. But of course, the client can choose no there. And if a client does not feel comfortable having their identifying info entered into HMIS at all, they can be entered anonymously. So this means that the client's name, date of birth, social, any identifying information will not be entered into HMIS if they choose anonymous. If someone does choose to remain anonymous, it's very important that they keep track of their service point number, because that service point number is the only way the client can be looked up in HMIS. So it's important that the client holds on to that, and if staff know that they're going to be working with this client long term, it can also be a good idea for staff to keep that service point number as well. That way the client can be looked up in HMIS. To fill out the ROI for an anonymous client, the client doesn't need to sign it or print their name. Rather, the staff member signs and dates the witness line and then initials next to the very bottom of that last page where it says the client wishes to remain anonymous in HMIS. If you are doing an intake over the phone, you can also provide a telephonic explanation of the ROI. You would fill the ROI out similarly to the way you do with an anonymous ROI. The staff would sign and date the witness line and then initial at the very bottom of that last page next to where it says the client received a telephonic explanation of this form. Once the client does come into contact with the staff in person, they'll need to sign a physical ROI. I'm now going to answer common questions around the ROI. So the first question, when does the ROI expire? The HMIS ROI expires every 7 years, so clients will need to complete a new ROI once that expiration date hits for them. Does the client need a new ROI for every agency that they work with? No, clients just need to sign one HMIS ROI for the entire COC. And then lastly, a common question we receive is, can a client cancel their agreement on the ROI? Yes, if a client would like to cancel their original agreement on the ROI and instead be entered anonymously or choose no for outside agencies, they can submit a cancellation letter and complete a different ROI. That letter can be found on the ECHO website, and the link is included on this slide. That concludes the release of information training. If you have any questions about the ROI, you can always submit an HMIS help desk ticket, and the link is listed here. Thank you.